know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns, our post-game show. Lance, I wish we're meeting under better circumstances. Tough one, man, really tough one. So many things to talk about. That I know one thing I always struggle with when we win games, there's always kind of tough things to. I don't really know what to talk about because there's so much good going on, but a lot of things after losing to the Bengals the third straight time. What were your initial thoughts on everything, on how this game unfolded?
Yeah, beginning of this week when I heard the way that this was shaping up and the way the Chiefs were viewing this game, I was very confident the Chiefs are going to go in here on both sides of the football, all three phases, because I know that's something we talk about here. And first and foremost, Marcus, good to see you, brother. Thank you for having me on. I'm very much looking forward to hearing what JD has to say as well about this game. But back to my original stance here. I heard the way the Chiefs were actually talking was very out of character, but I was willing to roll with it because I was confident this Chiefs team was going to come in here and turn the tide, change the direction and trajectory of what people were considering and shaping into a rivalry between the Chiefs and the Bengals. And if there's one thing we've known about the Patrick Mahomes era, is there's really been no true rivalry. I know people have tried to create one because it builds intrigue, it builds interest for the casual fan, for the viewing audience, for people to watch these types of games. But to this point, there hasn't been one. And so I figured the Chiefs were looking at this as that. They even put it on their Twitter account. They circled it on their schedule. They literally put that verbatim on their Twitter account. So I thought, you know what, the way they played in this Rams game, we talked about it was very ho-hum. You could tell they were trying to stay healthy and just get through it and just work on some things because they were going to go out there and do all things, all fire off on all cylinders, offensively, defensively, and special teams against the Bengals and go out there and make a damn statement. And that is literally the last thing they did tonight. In fact, they didn't do it at all. And to say that I'm frustrated and to say that I'm disappointed is to put it very mildly here, because if anybody follows me on Twitter, and I hope that you do, guys, because I can have myself a fun little meltdown here and there. Regardless, you're going to get a lot of honesty from me when it comes to Twitter. But I put it out there, and I stand by it now, Marcus, because of the fact this is now the third time the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs in a year's time. In the year 2022, they have beaten the Chiefs 3 consecutive times. The Bengals own the Chiefs. They own the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs. And I know it's only 9 combined points the Chiefs lost by in all 3 of these games, but there are moments in time when the Chiefs have to rise up to the occasion and get the job done. And instead of that happening, Patrick Mahomes throws an errant interception or a defensive play, 3rd and 27, they can't make the stop, or Travis Kelce fumbles it in the middle of the field and gives the Bengals second life. Whatever the case is, the Chiefs cannot get out of their own way, and they continue to allow the Bengals to win games against them. And it is unlike anything we have ever seen before in the Patrick Mahomes era, because he's never lost 3 consecutive games to one particular team, and he's done just that tonight. I'm not putting this all on Patrick, But when we give him praise for what the Chiefs do successfully, we have to bring it all to the forefront when the Chiefs lose together. And the defense was soft as hell tonight. They couldn't get any pressure on Joe Burrow tonight. They could not stop any of the pass plays down the middle of the field. It was so soft up the gut, man. They couldn't tackle, waving their arms everywhere here and there. Could not stop the run. They didn't have Joe Mixon, and it didn't even matter. And then when, like I said, the Chiefs are out there running the ball all over the damn field, when they get into the red zone, Andy Reid decides to play cute again. You want to do that against the Rams? Fine, I can live with it. I don't like it, but I can live with it. I mean, a game like this that you absolutely need to maintain the 1 seed against a team that you will more than likely face in the playoffs again, you cannot have Patrick go out there and run X and go out there on the side when they have Jerick McKinnon taking a direct snap on a 2nd and goal. You got to get a touchdown there. Luckily, Patrick Mahomes ended up getting it on the next play, but the fact remains, man, you cannot play cute in those types of moments. Andy Reid just refuses to get out of his own way. So this was a loss on the entire team. The defense was horrible. The offense was just, it was so inconsistent throughout the entire night. Patrick made some incredible throws. Jerick McKinnon and Pacheco were incredible on the field. They were running the ball with precision, especially in that first half. I think the Chiefs had over 150 rushing yards in the game. But it did not matter, because when you needed your guy like Travis Kelce to make a big play, he puts the ball on the ground, and it cost the Chiefs 7 points. It's a 14-point swing, because I really believe the Chiefs would have scored a touchdown on that drive. And now we're looking at the Chiefs now going from the 1 seed to now I believe it's the 3 seed, if I'm not mistaken, the 2 or 3 seed. Regardless, it makes it even worse is the fact that the Chiefs not only lose to the Bengals for a 3rd consecutive time, but they concede the 1 seed back to the Buffalo Bills. And here's the thing, real quick, Marcus. I'm confident the Chiefs are going to win their 5 remaining games. I do. I think the Chiefs are going to run the table. They're going to end up going 14-3, and they'll probably get the 1 seed back. But the Chiefs better hope they don't see the Bengals again in the postseason. Because right now, Marcus, I'm going to tell you the truth. As much as I love to hype my team up and I love to talk and gloat about Patrick Mahomes and gloat about this glorious time that we're living in, I really hope the Chiefs don't have to see the Bengals again, man. Because if they do, I think the Chiefs postseason will end early. Because for some reason, this team just has the Chiefs number. Would I love to see them turn the tide? Yeah, but I would love to see it tonight. But when you have guys like Justin Reid out there talking like they do, and he has fewer sacks than your rookie cornerback fewer tackles than your rookie quarterback Joshua Williams, I think he's going to have to hold it all tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned, I mean, a lot of things. It was out of character this week. Us talking about other teams, other guys on the other team. Andy Reid even talked about how he was pissed off about that, and he said it won't be happening again. So who knows what kind of talks went on behind the scenes there. But yeah, I mean, they own us. Like you said, and Joe Burrow specifically owns us. And I know we don't do the quarterback versus quarterback thing, but like, I mean, yeah, head to head, Burrow has beaten Mahomes. And I can't think of, there's not another quarterback who's beaten Mahomes 3 times. Is it just Brady and Burrow?
Yeah, Brady and Burrow, the only quarterbacks have ever beaten him three times, but Burrow's the only one that's beaten him three straight times.
Yeah, Mahomes got a losing record 3-0 against him, or 0-3 against him. I mean, yeah, like defensively, yeah, I know we have I think a Bengals fan here who's commenting on our show. 24 points, yeah, I would say red zone woes is the big thing there. You can't put this whole game on Patrick. The defense, we couldn't stop. And I tweeted about it. We made Samaje Perine look like the 2014 running back at Oklahoma, Samaje Perine, who ran for 430 yards against the Kansas Jayhawks. I mean, that's what we did. And it's one thing, and I tweeted this, it's one thing if Joe Mixon's doing this to us, but Samaje Perine, come on. That just shows you, I mean, that shows you why we brought in Brandon Williams, and hopefully we can see what he can do against the run. And we talked about this on the show, and JD and I talked about it on our show. We've let subpar running backs dominate us in games this year. I look back to Devin Singletary. I mentioned Josh Jacobs at the time. Josh Jacobs, but now he's doing that to everybody now. But Devin Singletary did it to us. Yeah, I think Jeff Wilson ate us up a little bit in that San Francisco game. But like, yeah, I mean, we couldn't stop anything off on defense, and also on top of that, missed tackles. Spags had drawn that play up perfectly. That third down play at the end, we make that stop. It was a quick little bubble screen to Chase with 3 defenders around him. The tackling was awful. It looked like the USC tackling during that Pac-12 championship game on Friday. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that, but that was pitiful second half tackling, and that's what that looked like tonight. We looked like the USC defense tonight. It was just awful, man. I really can't think of many silver linings on that defense. Yeah, the Carlos Dunlap stop on that 4th down, I thought that was going to turn the tide around a little bit. That was the only one good moment I saw from the game tonight on defense. Yeah, are we going to complain about penalties? Yeah, penalties happen. There's going to be missed calls, going to be bad calls. That happens in the game. But when you look at defensively, it was really shitty. Offense, yeah, our red zone, Rams second best red zone defense last week. I know we complained about that. And this week again, we some hiccups in the red zone. And I don't know. I think I saw a stat online that CEH and McCole Hardman had accounted for like around like 7 or 8
touchdowns.
8 red zone touchdowns this year. I mean, and I know people want to hate on CEH and all, but CEH and McCole Hardman, I mean, those are 2 losses that we didn't have, and it's pretty much showing the last 2 weeks and not having those guys, their playmaking ability. So that's something that we might gotta think about a little bit. But one thing that everyone wants to talk about is the main thing is Orlando Brown Jr. And I know we'll talk about it more with JD, but he wants to be top paid left tackle. And it's games like this where when you play against the Bengals, when you got Hendrickson and Hubbard, they're only rushing 3 dudes on us, and Mahomes can't get any time back there to do anything. Pretty pitiful. I know running the ball we did great today, but I mean they're getting back there with 3 guys. And I thought it was something we were gonna fix going into this year after what they did to us in the AFC Championship game, but they can do it to us, and I don't understand how they can do it to us. Tennessee's also pretty good at getting to us with the 3, and not having to blitz anybody. It's I don't know. It's pretty awful to watch that and just see how they can get to us with 3 guys. I mean, what was your take from Orlando Brown? I know you posted earlier this week. You were talking about how Orlando Brown's been playing better as of late, but then we go back to this kind of game, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. This is top paid money left tackle. Thoughts on Orlando Brown Jr.'s play?
Yeah, this is one of those difficult conversations to have because I think that there's this is a lose-lose conversation because I think that it comes down to the fan perspective and like people that like have been in the trenches and like understand these types of situations. I've heard Mitchell Schwartz, somebody that I very much respect and take his viewpoint a lot more seriously than just the common person. No offense to anybody else, but this man was in the league for a long time. He knows what he's talking about. He was a tackle in this league, and he was in Kansas City too. So he also protected Patrick Mahomes. So he has exclusive content and exclusive viewpoints on this. And something he said is that it's difficult to block for a guy like Patrick Mahomes sometimes because he moves around the pocket so much that when you want to take a guy in a certain direction or you want to absorb the upfront pressure, sometimes that isn't going to matter, like how well you play, because sometimes Patrick will run right into the pressure or will try to climb back up and then go right back into where that guy was, and that guy climbs right back to where he was, and it looks like you didn't protect. And I think that happened a couple times to Orlando Brown because what I saw, there was a play where Patrick Mahomes did a 5-step drop back and then ran to the left side, and it made it that much easier for Hendrickson to get to him. Even though it wasn't a sack, he ended up having to throw it away, and it looked like Orlando Brown gave up the pressure. But what happened was Hendrickson came right at Patrick Mahomes. It was either Hendrickson or Hubbard. I forget which one it was. But they hit Orlando Brown straight into the chest. He stopped them. And then Patrick ran to the outside, and you see them shift to the left, and Orlando's still moving back to the right. So it looks like he gave up a pressure when really he had the inside contained going. So, and I'm not an offensive line expert. All I'm saying is I think I see a lot of times where it looks worse from the offensive lineman than it really is. And this is the give and take with having, again, a quarterback as creative and as skilled as Patrick Mahomes, because of the fact that when those plays work, it looks magical. It looks like, oh my God, like how did he pull that off? But when it doesn't, and that thing happens, and that looks that bad or that ugly or that uncreative, then all of a sudden it makes the offensive lineman look bad. And so, and like I saw a comment that said the 24 points, you have to put it on Patrick in some regard. I agree with that. The problem though is that there was also a drop touchdown in this game by MBS. So that's also a score that the Chiefs didn't get in that one, in that regard. So, and I think Jerick McKinnon ended up scoring a touchdown. The point though is there were so many missed opportunities across the board here. And not to bring the defense back into the equation, when you have Joe Burrow having designed runs and he's getting 10-plus yards, that puts that much more pressure on your offense to have to go out there and try to make big plays because your defense can't stop Joe Burrow, who's a statue in the pocket, to go out there and look like pale Michael Vick. So it's a difficult game to process because so much was riding on it. There was so much on this game, and the Chiefs had multiple weeks, really, because last week, if we're being honest, wasn't a game the Chiefs had to really take all that seriously because they had that game wrapped up pretty early. It's very frustrating to know the Chiefs had this game circled on their calendar. They had veteran players they signed in the offseason talking shit, and they go out there and do what they did on both sides of the ball. It's very, very frustrating to see, man. So, yeah, I'm sure we have a lot more to discuss in this one, man, but any way you look at it, dude, the Chiefs absolutely choked this one. I saw Nick Wright, a guy I love very much, who's been a big inspiration to me, say that this is now finally a rivalry. Patrick Mahomes finally has a rivalry. And this is not a rivalry. The Chiefs are 0-3. Man, that's not a rivalry. I always talk about how, Herbert being 1-4 against Mahomes. That's not a rivalry. I know they share a division, but that's not. It's not a rivalry when one team owns the other. And right now, the Bengals own the Chiefs, man. I know they're close losses. They're still losses. Chiefs can't beat them right now. They got to fix some stuff.
Yeah, definitely not a rivalry. I would say that there's more bad blood in this rivalry in this matchup than the Buffalo one. That's just more, the 13 seconds. Chiefs and the Bills will be linked together forever because the certain games, the kind of the classics that we kind of had with them. Yeah, there's classics with the Bengals and the Chiefs, but it's just obviously, as you can tell, you got new guys coming in and talking shit right away. And it's like there's obviously bad blood between the two teams. Not rivalry, but definitely bad blood. And you gotta say, like we saw here, Burrow made it look easy tonight. That last throw, he had to ice the game. I mean, Josh Williams was right there. He played great coverage on that. He was right there. He just made that throw. Should we even got to that position? No, because I think we should have stopped him on that third down before that when Chase made our DBs look like sophomores in college trying to tackle him. I mean, unreal, man. That play was. I once that happened, it was like, okay, it's over, it's done. But let's talk about something else that I was kind of upset about. 3rd and 4, we end up. Mahomes runs around, tries to run up the middle, and I hope he's okay. I try to see where he came up limping on that play. I mean, he tipped his foot and he fell. I didn't see any roll of ankle or anything. Maybe something when he hit his shoelace tackle. Maybe something happened there. But McKinnon, I haven't seen the replay, but everyone's talking online, and McKinnon was open in the flat there, and Mahomes should have taken it. We don't get it. So first, we'll talk about that play. And actually, JD's coming on here right now. Let's get JD in here. We can talk about this. JD,
what's up, man? How y'all doing?
We're doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Can you hear it? Is it an echo?
No, we hear you. You're good.
Okay.
A little bit, not as bad. So we were talking about, just kind of the grievances of this game, but we were getting to something that everyone's talking about online. The Jerick McKinnon. So 3rd and 4, Mahomes tries to run it. We don't get it. Everyone's saying online that Jerick McKinnon was open in the flat. Mahomes choosing to run it up the middle. Poor decision. But forget that aspect of it. Would you have gone for it on 4th and 4? Or would you have rolled out Butker? Because that's kind of thing everyone's talking about. Why would you kick a 55-yard field goal with Butker? Because if you miss it, Burrow and them have been driving down the field on us all game. You're kind of putting yourself in that predicament. You give themselves good field position. So what do you think about that decision?
I mean, they had to measure it for whatever. I would have went for it. Personally, I would have went for it. Just for the simple fact who we have on offense. I would have trusted the guys to get it, to make the first down. But Butker he's a good kicker. So I don't think anything wrong with the decision in itself. Because you would have tied it up with some time, so to force them at least to try to do something on offense. They got the ball back, of course, after the kickoff. But personally, I would have went for it. But that's me. But when you have a strong kicker like Butker, why not? So I'm not faulting it. The decision in itself. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this. They 100. I know it's revisionist history. I know that it's easy to. Of course they should have went for it because Butker missed the field goal. But here's the thing: even if Butker makes the field goal, do we really have confidence with how? I think it was 3.5 minutes left in the game. Did we really have confidence that the Chiefs defense was going to make a stop against the Bengals on that next drive? Because I didn't. Because they didn't. Because he missed the field goal and they didn't stop. And they had a 3rd and 11 to stop them, and they didn't do it. So you need to take the game in control. You need to take it in your hands and control that game. Because Tony Romo mentioned it. I think there was 5.5 minutes left when he mentioned it. He said the Chiefs have an ability here with the way they've been running the ball. They can run that clock down all the way past the 2-minute warning, and Joe Burrow never sees the ball again, and they can score a touchdown in the red zone. That was still very much in play. And I know Patrick Mahomes was hobbling a little bit. Maybe that was why Andy Reid decided to take the field goal, because he didn't know the extent of maybe he was actually injured or not, because he was walking towards the sideline. You didn't see Patrick like waving them off and saying, no, we got it. No, we got it. Because I would like to believe if Patrick was waving them off, Andy would have given him a play call. But it was a very strange sequence of events, because I do naturally believe that when you have the greatest quarterback in the world, an offense that is more capable of converting fourth and shorts, they should have went for that and not given Joe Burrow another opportunity to go out there and win the game, even if they were to sink that 55-yard field goal. So I'm right in line with JD on that one, man. Like I said, that's like one of the 55 different things I'm just absolutely frustrated about how the Chiefs came out and played in this game tonight, because the execution could not have been more mediocre and bad in so many different areas, given the fact of how big and pivotal this game was for the Chiefs.
Well, I'll tell you what, and this is why I say when you're making a decision like this, you know, you're hoping, okay, and this is what you're looking at, honestly, with a defense that was, you know, so tonight, you know, and I'll kind of talk about that. You're hoping, you know, if you do tie it up, you're hoping your defense is like, look, okay, they tied it up, they put it in a situation, we had to get a stop. You're hoping your defense does that. And it just made it a little bit more difficult, because when you have 3:15 and then you're down by that amount of time, it's a different feel than it is if you're tied up and it's, you know, you got 3 minutes, 15 seconds. That way, because you kick a deep one, you know, you start on the 25 as opposed to, you know, you give them the ball to them almost at, you know, in midfield. It's a different thing. So that's, you know, as a coach, you always want to believe that your guys are going to step up when they need to. And so that was the thing. They weren't able to do it. They weren't able to do it. But I'm as a coach and as a player, I'm always going to put my guys out there on the field to make plays, period. So I'm always going to trust my guys. It's just how it works. And the thing is, it's a good place to be, because it's just not – this is the long game here, right? We got to think about the long game as far as like how you deal with things. You don't want to lose confidence in your guys and say, like, we don't trust these guys at all, right? We don't trust them. Like, you have to give the defense at least a chance to make up for what they wasn't able to do. So that's just how it is. It's a mindset. It's a mentality. And so sometimes it is like, I got to give confidence, you know, and some belief that these guys are going to go out there and make the plays.
What did you think about? We talked about the trenches, because I think the game was, and like most games in the NFL, they're won and lost in the trenches. And I think tonight, we talked about the AFC Championship game. Those three guys were getting back to us relentlessly, Hubbard and Hendrickson. We talked about how, you know, we needed a guy like a Hendrickson or a Hubbard in the draft. And that's when we won in the offseason. We ended up got Carl Loftus, who's got a high motor, high energy guy. But tonight, again, it was a kind of a repeat of the AFC Championship game. They were getting back there. They were causing havoc all game long with that three-man rush. Many people online are criticizing Orlando Brown's play. What did you see from our O-line and what their pass rush was able to do to kind of, you know, screw up things for us?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. You got to trust guys to step up, and they was able to get in. You know, the inside move on Orlando Brown, able to flush Patrick out the pocket. You know, and that's the thing about it. If you're able to disrupt the timing of a quarterback, where he's able to move, he has to move to throw the football. That's what you want to be able to do on defense, right? You want him to make an errant throw. You want to make something that he's not comfortable doing. And so, not just on the offensive line, but defensive line, we weren't able to get back to Joe Burrow either. Joe Burrow was sitting back and he was able to pick us apart. Yeah. So it's one. The games are won in the trenches. And so, I was just looking at how they was running the ball effectively. And we just weren't getting any type of penetration. We weren't stopping the guys, man, up front. Not Chris Jones, but the other defenses. There's got to be more. There has to be more. There has to be something where you're sitting there saying, we got to be able to get out there, get up some penetration, you know, stop the double team in the O-line, getting that to the second level. And he was doing that all night. Same thing like going on offense. It's the same thing. We got to be able to make sure that we stay in stout on the inside to make sure they keep everything filtered out. We want Patrick to have a clean pocket so he can throw the football. Look, if you have quarterback, and I'm talking about a Patrick Mahomes who could make every throw possible, but you want him to be at his best. You want him to be as comfortable as possible. You don't want him running around. Yeah, he does a great job running with his legs, but at the end of the game, you want him to be, you don't want him touched. You want him to see pristine lanes. You want to see all those different things from him, and he shouldn't have to be running around toward the end. So, yeah, he's running around. I know they said McKinnon was open over in to the side, but when Patrick was moving up, he actually had somebody was coming open. I think he was going to try to throw to him, and they clipped him at the end. So I just, for the life of me, I just don't understand. If you're going to get beat, man, hold a guy, something like that. To me, it just doesn't make any sense, man. It was kind of a bad play, I guess, on OBJ toward the end, and I think he knows it. Could have did a lot better, no doubt about it, man. But the line in itself at the end, I think the defensive line at the beginning just didn't play stellar football. They just didn't. They just did not. That's what I seen. Glaringly, that's what I saw.
Lance, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, JD, like I said, I know before JD came on, I almost made a somewhat of a defense for OBJ just because of the fact that hearing previous guys that have protected in this league at the tackle position in particular, and in particular here in Kansas City for Patrick Mahomes, they talk about how it is difficult to defend to block for a guy that is that creative with his feet, that will run around the pocket and off schedule throws, things of that nature, that sometimes when you have upfront pressure and you contain your guys, sometimes it doesn't matter because Patrick will go out to the outside, run around, try to create, and it looks like you gave up a pressure, though sometimes it actually isn't you that's doing it. I agree that it's so confusing how the Chiefs struggle with something that seems to be a lot more simple than facing guys that are stacked 8 in the box. When you have guys that are coming at you, 5, 6, 7 deep, I can understand why giving up pressures is a reality in that scenario. But when you're facing 3 guys and none of them are Reggie White, none of them are Von Miller, none of them are Nick Bosa, it's very confusing that the Chiefs continue to struggle with that, both from Patrick Mahomes' standpoint and from the offensive line standpoint. It's so frustrating to see that. And I think that is the biggest reason why I have the concerns I have when it comes to facing the Bengals, because now we have 3 games of an actual sample size to look at and say the Chiefs continue to find ways to lose these close games to the Bengals. Because as much as we talk about it, when we talk about the Chargers in particular, these close, hard-fought games, the Chiefs continue to find ways to beat them down the stretch in the fourth quarter. We talk about that as the Chiefs owning the Chargers. They just have them beat mentally. They make more plays than they do at the end of the game. It might look close, but the Chiefs always find that edge. That's exactly what the Bengals have on the Chiefs. They have this recipe. They have a quarterback that is so calm, cool, and collected and talented at an elite level with all these weapons around him, with a defense that has really no names across the board that just know how to play against a team like the Chiefs. And it's very frustrating for us here in Kansas City that are spoiled with these riches of a team that looks like they're going to win the Super Bowl every year, but yet can't seem to beat this one team, man. That's why I said on Twitter, and I said on this show, and I'll say it again, the Chiefs are going to run the table. They're not going to lose another game for the rest of the season, and they're probably going to get the 1 seed back because I do believe the Bills are going to lose at least one more game. But the Chiefs better hope they don't see the Bengals, because for whatever reason, that is a team that can send the Chiefs home early, and it's a scary thing to see right now.
Well, I say this. Scheme-wise, I think if you know that they're rushing 3, then you're looking at the help. The help has to be toward the outside a little bit more, right? I mean, it needs to be solidified. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this. McKinnon was sitting, he's setting to help Orlando on the outside. The guy comes inside, Bethune is helping Creed on the inside, and he actually doesn't have anybody there. So when you're kind of looking at this, the type of guys they have on defense is the guys that absolutely plague what Patrick Mahomes does. Let me put it that way, right? So they don't have to be no-name guys. These guys are just hustling guys. When we seen it, that's what the defense gives you. Hendricks and all those guys, they are hustling guys. I was looking at him when he ran Patrick out of bounds at the end of the game. I'm like, dang God, there he is, Hendricks again. He's a high motor, nonstop guy. He's just going to be a gnat that's always on you all the time. That's what it is. And so what makes it difficult with that, and look, we got to just talk scheme wise, okay? Because we got to realize is they're dropping 8, okay? If you got 3 rushing, that means 8 are out in pass protection. So they're sitting up in lanes, okay? They understand what they do. But the thing is, defensively, they just want to get him off his grass running. That's what they want to be able to do. That's it. That's all that matters, because you got 8 sitting back, saying, look, you only got 4 guys out here in pass to catch a pass. So we just sit over in the lanes. We're going to just mirror them guys, put our hands on him, disrupt them as much as possible. We get them, moving, Patrick moving out. That's what it is. So it's the defensive scheme wise, just how you try to attack it. So, like you said, hustle and contain. That's it. So the thing is, it's purposeful, the things that they're doing. All right, yeah. It's not like they just we're just gonna rush this way. No, let's flush him out this time, because we want him either running over to his left or running to his right, because how we putting the defense out. That's what it is. And so it is. Yeah. Where's the pass rush? No pass. And, we weren't getting pass rush back there on Joe Burrow. So I look at a lot of the gameplay. That's what I'm looking at. And so, yeah, the Bengals, look, we lost them 3 times in a row. Okay. All about 3 points or less. To me, the game can go either way. It really can. I just, sometimes these things just happen this way. I'm not about, I hope we play them again. Let me put it that way. I hope we play them again. But we need that inside, somebody inside wise to get that pass rush down to disrupt Joe Burrow from sitting over there. He's running up and down the field. I'm like, Joe Burrow, look, what I'm saying, just running. Like, it's just too much of that. Just way too much of that. I told somebody this earlier. Sanjay Piran has looked phenomenal for them. Okay. I think everybody doesn't really, talk about how good of a back he is. But he's a great receiving back out the backfield. He did a tremendous job with Joe Mixon today. So I just think, man, there's got to be a more sense of urgency and purpose on that line. It just seemed like guys were just stopping, and you just can't have that. There's just got to be a little bit more grit, more crawling to go get these guys. It just has to be that way against Joe Burrow. And if you don't do that, he's going to pick you apart, right? Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Any quarterback that you give him time is going to pick you apart. Any quarterback that you disrupt against, you're going to make it difficult for him. Same with Tom Brady. You disrupt Tom Brady into his timing, you got a better chance, right, to beat him. So it's no different. I don't care what quarterback is. It's just always going to be a hard time when you get him off his grass. So I'm not going to go ahead and say, the defense does a good job again with the Cincinnati Bengals as far as game planning with the Chiefs. But there are some things that the guys have to do within themselves and say, look, we got to do a much better job not to lose this game. And that's what I said this past week is it's all about finishing the game. You got to finish the game. Finish it up top. Man, we win and finish the game. Just finish it. So that's the frustration part of it. But I'm not going to sit there and act like, these guys, man, they 7-4 for a reason. We 9-2, 9-3 now. But, hey, man, you learn from it.
Real quick, I'll say this, Marcus. I think what's frustrating about these losses more than anything, JD, is that you're right. They've been so close, but now they've found a way to beat the Chiefs in different ways. Because the first 2 losses, the Chiefs had 18-point leads in the first half and still found a way to lose those games. And this time around, the Chiefs are trailing in the first half to go into the second half, and it feels like the Bengals never. They never, how some teams you start to see them press or start to overthink, like, oh, God, this is the Chiefs. And you start to see them make those critical mistakes, and they give the Chiefs that advantage. The Bengals aren't that team for some weird reason. It doesn't work on them. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't that hypnosis vibe, where the Chiefs find a way to kind of get you to believe that, hey, look, you're just not going to beat us. We're just going to find a way. When it comes to the Bengals, they just, like you talked about when it comes to Hendrickson and these guys just constantly just motoring. That's this entire team. That's what they do. When they play the Chiefs, it's different. Because look at it. Until with a minute left in the game, the Chiefs didn't have a single sack on Joe Burrow, who is the 3rd most sacked quarterback in the league. I guarantee you, next week, the Bengals are going to give up 7-8 sacks. Because when they play the Chiefs, they rise to the occasion and are not afraid of the moment. And that is the difference between them and the Bills and these other AFC opponents, is because eventually the Bills and the Ravens and these other teams start to get a little antsy, and they start to press, and they start to do these things and overthink and, do things critically, make critical errors. The Bengals just don't do that. And that's the frustrating part about this matchup is to this point, when these games are so close, I think that's a testament to them, a credit to what the Bengals do against the Chiefs, is that the games are so tight and they still find a way to prevail each and every time, despite the context of how the scores got to where they were.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you a little bit, but I think it is about what we didn't do as opposed to what they did. Seriously,
Sure.
I think it's our failure to actually come at the end and make plays as opposed to actually what the Bengals will give. Look, trust me, I'm watching these guys on the sideline. I'm watching what they're doing. Their butthose was tight. Truly, I'm telling you, I'm just letting you know. Seriously, they might look, kind of under pressure. Heck, half the time Hendricks is running around because he's just like, we cannot let these guys beat us, right? I mean, he's just a wild dog turned loose, and so sometimes you need a guy like that, but he's just focused to do one thing: just go get the football as fast as possible. And so that's what I'm talking about, like a sense of urgency. And yeah, maybe a little bit of luster is lost on the Bengals, but to be honest with you, man, these guys lucked out the last 3 times. Part of it is because we allowed them to hang around. I think the first game we had them, we let them hang around. Okay, second half. Second game out in Kansas City, we let them hang around, and then all of a sudden here they are, right? And so it's always a failure to things we don't do or why we lose to the Bengals. I don't think it's necessarily all the things about what they do. I think it's a lot of failure of things we don't do on our side, either on offense or defense, or why we're losing. Truly, So, like, come on, Travis Kelce fumbling. That never happens. It was just a failure of that. Then also we get the ball to Kelce, then we come from him. I look at the first time we go down there to try to go score. 2nd and 3, we go do a bootleg. 2nd and 3, run the football. Get it like 6 or 7 yards. Like practicality. Sometimes you just got to go and hit these dudes in the mouth. And so we were running the ball effectively against this team. And I think sometimes you just got to stick with it and understand, it's all chess. It's just strategy and tactics and what you're trying to do, especially against a team like this. But now, since they've been there 3 times in a row, now that's what's going to be. Oh, well, the Bengals got your number. Okay. Well, you know what? Hey, okay, Pete, come on, Mr. Dunn. We were up 14-3. Yeah, it was a 14-3. You had the ball twice at the very beginning. That's how it happens. Defense didn't do well. We didn't stop the run. We didn't stop the run like we should have. We should have scored. Should have been 7-7 at the very beginning of the first 2 possessions, and it wasn't. So it's the same thing. Things we didn't do. We should have just been more practical in our approach, getting into touchdown, have been 7-7, and all those different things. Believe me, everybody at Pac-Core stadiums like was that tight. I'm telling you. So, hey, man, this is football. That's how it works in the NFL, man. So I'm not going to take anything away from the Bengals. They're great.
Hey, JD, can you do that again? Just
like that. Well, so you couldn't even sneak a fart out if you needed to. So
I needed the laugh, bro. Trust me, I needed it bad, man. I'm hurting over here, bro.
Yeah, look, man. We just put it all in perspective, man. Look, the Bengals is a good football team, right? Sure, they went to the Super Bowl last year, so not taking anything away from them guys, man. But we got to get over that thing with them, allowing them to stay in the game with us, and then of course, up here at Pac-Core Stadium, it's a tough environment. It's the jungle, right? Shoot, it's a hostile environment, but like I said, I hope we play them another time. I do. Should.
Yeah. So we talked about the game being won in the trenches, and we kind of mentioned the pass rush. And you mentioned Samaje Perine. I think this is his 3rd career 100-yard game in the NFL. He looked like the same running back from the 2014 Oklahoma Sooners who had 430 yards with the Kansas Jayhawks. He brought that vintage back out tonight. But I think this kind of highlights what we've been talking about this whole year, that we need a big body up front. And we talked about the show.
Yes.
Finding at Brandon Williams. How urgent is that kind of guy to get Brandon Williams up to speed, to get him active for the next few games that we have to get him ready for the playoffs, so this doesn't happen?
Immediately as possible to get a guy like that here. When I'm telling you, when I'm watching double teams kicking our guys down the field, I ain't gonna say no names. I'm not gonna say who it was, but just 5 or 6 yards down the field driving it. That's what I'm talking about. That just cannot happen. It just can't. So if you're going to just hunker down. Create a pal if that's what's going to happen. If you're going to get on skates, just create a pal. That's the way it works. And then let the linebackers and secondary come up and tackle. bad tackling. We didn't tackle well. We didn't tackle well. So there's a lot of things we sit there. They know they didn't do well. We know we didn't do things well. So tackling, driving off the football, not getting pressure on Joe Burrow like we should have defensively. We failed at those things, to win the game, especially a good football team like the Bengals. Period. That's what it was. Bottom line. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's been a need all year. The Chiefs definitely need to have a physical presence up front, outside of, because you can't expect Chris Jones, who lines up on defensive end more times than not, to do everything in the middle, because you see the way these offensive lines are now playing him every single week. They're just double teaming him and saying, all right, Mike Dana, all right, Colin Saunders, okay, George Karlaftis, who's a rookie, you guys beat us, 40 times this game. Like, you guys do it. They're not going to let Chris Jones just do it. I would like to see a little bit more out of Chris Jones in this game, but I'm gonna give him a pass when the dude's played like an absolute all-pro madman all season long. They have got that. There's a reason why the Chiefs went and got Brandon Williams, and for the fact, that everybody was asking me this week, well, why was Brandon Williams still available? Brandon Williams said it himself. He's been waiting to see if he can go to a contender, and the stars align for him. This is still a very physically gifted guy. He's in his 30s now, so he's obviously not at his peak anymore. But he's a guy that can make a difference. I think the Chiefs have guys out there. But here's the thing, JD, and I don't want to throw a wrench into the question, Marcus, because I promise you I'm not deflecting, because I want to answer it directly. Yes, it is an immediate need, and JD's 100% correct. But I do wonder how much of this, JD, and you would know better than I, how much of this is a coaching issue? Because I think that a lot of times we see some questionable decision-making from Steve Spagnuolo in some of these situations, because the fact that we know he's a blitz-heavy schemer. We know he loves to run the blitz. In tonight's game, you saw a lot of soft coverages, a lot of things where he was almost daring them to run, but when they were running with succession, I didn't see a lot of adjustments that looked like they were actually putting it out there. And the effort is something I was worried about as well, because I saw Darius Harris, a fringe player on this defense, just doing olays, not running guys down, not showing that same motor the Bengals were trying to match them with on the other side of the ball. So I wonder sometimes, like, how much of this also falls on coaching. JD, I think you're the one that would know better than me, man.
Mm-hmm. Look, the coaches, what you do is you prepare guys, get them ready, and put them in positions to make plays. That's what you do as a coach. You can't play for guys. I don't care. You just can't. And so that's what the guy has to come within himself, out of the emotion, out of, all the heart, what he's doing, to go out there and try to dominate as much as possible. That's what you have to do. And so it's one thing that, we talk about, like, right, Spags, not putting Joshua Williams in the great position as far as, not getting somebody over the top. Well, then we sitting over saying it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Somebody's got to drop their cojones and come off the football. Somebody has to stop somebody, right? And somebody's got to push somebody in the backfield. That's what it's all about. Like a mano, you have to win your battle. That's what it boils down to. Yeah. And so we could say coaching is one thing, but, hey, coach is like, look, hey, once I call the plays, y'all got to play it. Shoot, if a guy's kicking your tail on the line of scrimmage, that ain't got nothing to do with me. It has to do with you. And so if we're sitting there seeing this failure time in and time again, okay, and Samjay Pirine is getting over 100 yards, and he's running up the gut, and, somebody's like, Bowen's too small. I don't care what linebacker. You get to the second level and put your hands on somebody, it's going to be difficult for a guy to come off. That's the bottom line. So it's hard when we're sitting over here and we say, well, it could be the coachings and stuff like that. Hey, I could call the right play. I could call the greatest blitz or whatever. If you're not getting home, you're not getting home. Like, I looked at one that we actually called pressure. We had 6-on-5, and we bottle up. It's like a bottleneck. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, get through the lane. Like, get through the lane, right? Against a team that's been giving up sacks, here we come in like that. Like, well, how is that possible, right? That's what you start wondering. How is it that we don't get back and get any sacks like that during the game? We're not getting the pressures of hitting Joe Burrow the way that we should. Heck, the one that Stallworth got back on and knocked him down, it's, roughing the passer. Mm-hmm. So, come on, man. It's just terrible. Yeah, dude, where is Derek Nnamdi? Good question. No, I'm not. Look, I'm not. Look, man. I'm always trying to be fair to guys, but I gotta see more out of certain guys. I gotta see more out of them. Period.
Yeah, and you saw an intimidation almost from Mike Dana in that last play, that last pivotal play, the 3rd and 11. He was in the backfield and he slowed up. It was almost like he was afraid to hit Burrow because of what happened with Stallworth early in the game. Because now what it's come to, not to dive off too far into the officiating aspect, but it did play a factor earlier in the game because it gave the Bengals 25 additional yards on that first drive where Stallworth makes a fundamental tackle on Joe Burrow, yes. A 325-pound man.
Right.
Can't just stop his body from falling forward when he's already tackling somebody. Made a fundamentally the ball wasn't even out of Joe Burrow's hands yet. He's already making contact with his body. So it wasn't a timing issue. They're saying you can't land on him. That is impossible. It is impossible to do that. That added 15 yards. The soft-ass DPI they put on, I think it was McDuffie as well. Yeah. These are the kinds of things, and that was an interception, by the way. Those are the kinds of things that can cost teams games. It wasn't really a game, so the Chiefs had an opportunity to adjust to those horrific decisions. But yes, I think at the end of the game, you saw almost like a timid way about some of the guys on the Chiefs side. Man, we can't afford to get a penalty here. Let's just hope that the secondary makes a big play on this one. I gotta pressure. I gotta hurry. I can't make the big contact because I'll throw this flag. And that's a real problem the NFL now has, man, because these guys aren't gonna be able to make big plays and get their team a victory because of the timidness that they have to carry around late in games like that because of bad penalties.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I think that was a bad call on Stallworth. I do. I think it was a terrible call. They can say whatever they want to on McDuffie. I don't know if you call that one, to be honest with you. But when you're sitting over and you're just looking at it, I don't know if guys pulled up. It maybe looked like that, and I don't know. Could be something to it, Lance. I'm not sure, but I don't really know guys saying that or the heart of these guys like that to say this guy pulled up you know what I mean? But I just think there's just got to be more there. It has to be absolutely more there, especially when you're playing up in a hostile environment. Mm-hmm. You got to go all the way out. No holds bar. You don't worry about none of it. You got to go ahead and just come after them jokers. You know what I'm saying? The Hefe say, yeah, kick, field goal, unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, Buckner missing the field goal. Hey, man, he's been kicking them. He had a little snafu for a couple of weeks, and he came back. Looked like he was money. I thought there was going to be money, to be honest with you. But hey, man, you know what? Here we are.
I know it's easy, and we kind of talked about, it's so easy for people just to blame Spags. It's easy to blame the DC or the offensive coordinator or, But we talk about missed tackles. That was a big thing in this game. It looked like I was telling Lance earlier. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the USC Utah game on Friday, but our tackling tonight looked exactly like USC's second half tackling, and it was awful. I mean, it was really pitiful. But the thing that stands out, you got 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 on their second to last series. They get that first down pretty much. That's game, and then they end up getting the other first down to T. Higgins, and that was game. But look at that play. Chase is there. I mean, Spags called that perfectly. The bubble to Chase, and we have 3 guys surrounding him, and Chase doesn't think it's the first down. I mean,
dude, I thought literally those guys was in the backfield. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. They got him right here, and he squirts out for 2 or 3, and not to mention allowing the wide receivers to block our corners like that. Yeah. Man, you got to hit a dude in the throat. I mean, this is what I'm talking about at the end. You have to make that play. You have got to want to make that play more than the other guy right there doesn't want to, he's trying to make his, trying to stop you. Like a wide receiver blocking, man, get off that guy. I can see if it's a linebacker or I'm sorry, like a offensive tackle or tight end, a little bit stronger guy than you. Yeah, but corner, you supposed to come up and make that, man. You got to make that play. So it was a lot of bad tackling going on tonight, man. And I think all the guys would agree with it. They will. They agree with it. They didn't tackle as good as they should have, Do
you think that a lot of the kind of spirited play with the Bengals, the skill players, you think that has anything? Because a lot of people are blaming this on Justin Reed's mouth this week, giving this extra motivation to the Bengals guys.
Man, forget that. That's silly. You know what? Hey, man. You don't need extra motivation. Guys come out to come play. You're playing against a premier offense, the premier wide receivers. You got a good defense. it's all about going at these guys. That's what it's supposed to be. It's all about competition. It don't matter who said what, right? Just go out there and just go play. That's what it, bottom line. That's it. And so, yeah, Chase went in and all the money signed and stuff like that. Hey, man, forget all that. Just go out here and just go play. So
this game mattered so much to both these teams, whether Justin Reed talked or not. What I said on 810 Sports Radio this week, though, this last Wednesday, is I said that I do believe that, because I've heard JD say it, that he doesn't need extra motivation. I've heard Mitchell Schwartz, former right tackle, say that he doesn't need extra motivation. But I have also heard guys say that, you know what, I like hearing press clippings, and I like hearing that stuff because it does give me a little bit of fire and a little bit of, excitement for that game, even more so. And I think Andy Reid talked about it in the press conference about how he didn't like that from Justin Reid. He said, he's new here, but he now knows that I don't do that stuff. Because one thing Andy always loves to do is he loves to lull his opponents to sleep. He gets up there, he's like, yeah, so we're looking forward to the opportunity to play it against the Bengals. He loves to make it sound like it's a very respectful, shaking hands, kind of, gentleman's game type of thing. He doesn't like to have his team talk. But from what I've heard from inside the locker room is that Andy loves when the other team talks because his team is they like to have that pettiness about it. They like to go, okay, you want to talk? Okay, we're going to go out there and bum rush you. Like we heard, I think it was Shaq Barrett early in the season, the Buccaneers talking about we're going to have a coming out party against the Chiefs. And the Chiefs offensive line just obliterated him in that front seven. That may have happened anyway, but I like to believe that the Chiefs offensive line took note of that and said, we're going to make sure that Shaq Barrett doesn't have himself a coming out party. And that's exactly what they did. And, something I wanted to bring to the table again here, Marcus, because I know you're the one that asks the questions, but, looking at the remaining of this schedule for the Chiefs, they have 5 games left, only one NFC team left. All 3 of the Chiefs' losses this season have come against AFC opponents. And 2 of those 3 losses have come against the 2 best teams the Chiefs will face all year in the AFC, and the Bengals and Bills. And the offense for the Chiefs in those 2 games only averaged 22 points a game, and we saw them have late-game blunders, late-game turnovers. I mean, it's something that is starting to concern me, and knowing that this show is called the Chief Concerns Podcast, I think this is the perfect time for us to talk about something of a potential concern of the Chiefs being 0-2 against the Bills and Bengals. I know it's the regular season. The Chiefs can go in there in the postseason and answer all the questions and make do and get justice. But, I mean, do you guys feel the same way as I do right now? Because in this moment, I am a little concerned that these are games that the Chiefs are losing in the same regular season.
No, not to me. Look, we're everybody's Super Bowl, okay? Period. We're the pinnacle in the NFL. Bottom line, we're the best team in the business. Everybody knows it. We have the best quarterback in the business, best coaches in the business. Everybody knows it. So everybody's shooting for us. We have a target on our back more than anybody else. We have arrived. Okay, Chief Kingdom, we have arrived. We are the most hated team in the NFL, and probably the most revered and loved team in the NFL. That's where we are. We done moved into where where New England used to be. Everybody used to hate New England. I don't care what it was. Guess what? That's where the Chiefs are. This is who we are right now. We're the most hated team in the business. Everybody's tired of us talking about it. They're tired of seeing Pat Mahomes doing commercials for State Farm. They're tired of seeing anybody else on the field. Now they got Andy Reid on doing a commercial. They're tired of seeing the Chiefs. I don't care where you at. They are tired of it. And so if you can come out here and you can beat the Chiefs, that's what it's going to be, because everybody wants to crown Joe Burrow. Everybody wants to crown Josh Allen, right? They're tired of the Chiefs winning. They want a new winner. That's what they want. They want their guy. So until the Chiefs stop winning and doesn't get to the Super Bowl and stuff like that, then we're not going to be everybody else's, problem. But right now, everybody is firing for us, and they just trying to take shots. The Bills, great defense. We went all ways together. We're going to be a little bit better than the team that when we played the Bills, right? Yeah, we only lost against about 3 points against these guys. Same thing with Cincinnati. Hey, lost about 3 points. They're a great team. We understand that. There's things we're going to do to make these changes to get better. Like I said, in interior, we got somebody different in there. We're going to get guys back, right, toward the end of the season. So we're going to be a much more complete team. I'm not worried at all, okay? I'm not. So we can sit there and be concerned about it, but this is football, baby. Look, and I played this thing for a long time. If it's all about going out there and hitting guys in the mouth, and I'm looking guys in the huddle, if I'm looking at a team in the league, in the NFL, about making it to the Super Bowl, Chiefs is always going to be my pick, period, because of the guys that I'm looking at on the line, the guys I'm looking at, the offense and defense and all the sidelines. Those guys I believe in. I really do. So I'm not worried about that at all. Chiefs concerns, we talk about the things that, we should be concerned about and getting better. That's what it is. But as far as like having a complete team and worried about bills and stuff like that, I ain't worried about these jokers. Not at all.
Yeah, and I agree to everything JD just said. I'm going to double down on what you just said, JD.
Okay. I know. I'm on the red, man. I'm a little hot right now, so y'all forgive me, man.
I'm right alongside you, bro. I'm right alongside you.
Yeah, because the thing, you shake your head, man. Hey, look, here's the thing, man. I'm riding with PM15 and all those cats in there. Bottom line, period. You know, and I know they were saying on Twitter, like, oh, they would have taken Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, you better take Patrick Mahomes. You start with anybody.
Okay? And it's something that Marcus said earlier in the show that I think is 100% accurate. JD, you may not have heard it. It's funny how the Chiefs, a lot of fans want to downplay the significance of having some of these others, like a McCole Hardman, a Kadarius Toney, a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yet those guys were so productive, especially when it came to scoring touchdowns. Clyde and McCole had 8 combined touchdowns, I think, in the final 4 or 5 games they had played. Those guys, they may not be guys that you build the team around because obviously, like you said, we ride with PM15. I'm 100% on board with that. But those guys have been so effective this season in the red zone. That is why the Chiefs were so great in the red zone for the first 8-9 games of the season. And then you lose these guys to injuries, and you see those deficiencies. You see how much more is now being put on Travis Kelce to the point where Travis didn't look like himself tonight. I mean, I'm not even talking about the fumble. He looked like he was a little bit tired. He looked a little slow, a little sluggish. He just didn't look like the fired up Travis Kelce. I didn't see that guy tonight. I don't know if he was dealing with something. I know there was rumors about him having the flu. I didn't hear any validity to that, but it looked like something was wrong. And so I think there's just a lot weighing on some of these individual players because before McCole went down, before Clyde went down, there was just this plethora of weapons that Patrick Mahomes can just choose from. And they're still there for the most part. I think Skyy Moore's got the abilities. Obviously, JuJu's got those abilities. MVS can make those deep catches. There are guys out there that can make big plays. We all know the tight ends, the skyscrapers with cleats. But having that game-breaking speed from McCole Hardman and having that nimble ability that Clyde has within the 10 to 15-yard range, those are being missed. And that was missed tonight. And my producer, Clay Windler, brought that up to me tonight. He's like, look, man, if we had Kadarius Toney and McCole tonight, and I know we don't like to play the if game, but those guys are there tonight. I think the Chiefs put up 35 points tonight, and I know that's what JD was expecting tonight. That's what I was expecting, too. Those opportunities were just missed. And those players, whether people want to admit it or not, those guys are missed, man. And they were missed in tonight's game, for sure.
Absolutely. 100%. No doubt about it. Because you got two speedsters out there, man, who stretch the defense to do everything. Catch football, we know they're dynamic. That speed in itself, man. You can't coach speed. You just can't. And so McCole Hardman and Kadarius Toney, they got that. Okay. Not to mention, if you're talking about on returns, also too, that's another element to it that you have on return ball. So, it's all 3 phases. We have a guy back there who can break the ball and go hit their head on the goalpost. We have those 2 guys that are not out with us right now. So I just the way I look at it. Look, the Bengals is a good team. We knew it was going to be a good game. Nothing just given, especially with high caliber, type of guys in the AFC. These are the 2 losses. Yeah, Bills, Bengals. Indianapolis was the one with no focus whatsoever. But as far as just dealing with these guys that we have, I think you look over the film, you say what you didn't do right, and you say the very next time we play them, this is what we're going to do. Period. And I think, to be honest, the very first game that we played the Bengals, and then when it came to the playoff game, we was torching the first half. We torched them. It was like, all that happened up there was a fluke, right? And then all of a sudden we got back into that same thing, not running the football effectively, start getting out of the other stuff. Now we just got to have a more complete game and saying, look, this is how we have to do it from here on out when we play on this team. These guys, we can't give nothing. And to the point of what you're saying with Travis Kelce, I think, I don't know as far as the first time I heard him having flu or whatever, but I think he needed that motivation when he made that fumble. You see, all of a sudden, he started eating. He started eating like, okay, I need this. He started jawing up with little guys too. He started, look, you know what? Hey, I'm still the most elite tight end in the league, baby. I'm going to let y'all know this. And so A guy like that, you start feeding him. I'm looking for a feed him, give it to him because he wants the ball, right? And so I just fell short. Just fell short this game. That's it, man. I'm just putting it in perspective. We just fell short. But it's all good. We're 9-3. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I feel like JD's giving us all like one big bear hug right now, just like
I am.
look,
That's all, man.
we got this.
All right, man. Dang.
Stop crying, babies. We got this. All right.
He's the glue guy. He's the glue guy. Keeping us all together.
Yeah, man. Dude. Yeah. Let's put out perspective. Hey, they won. It's okay. 9-3. Put it behind us. Let's move forward. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be good.
And I will say we have a lot of Bengals people in the chat, and I will say I'm glad it's been very civil. You know, you guys are you're taking subtle jabs at us, but you're not sticking the fork in us too badly. But I'm glad you guys are keeping it civil in the chat. I will say to what you said about Kelce, I saw the whole flu thing. I read that was kind of debunked by some people saying that was BS. But I will say there might have been some. Kelce was checking out a lot during that game, and I remember we got down the red zone was when McKinnon caught the touchdown. But I remember he was out on 2 of those plays on that. I'm like, why is he coming out more with a 2-yard line? Like he should be in during this. But yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said, JD, he ate after that fumble. He had he was a man possessed after that. So
yeah.
I do hope that Mahomes' injury, because this is one thing I read online too, is like, we went for the field goal. Maybe that wasn't our number one choice there because Mahomes was dinged up after he got that shoestring tackle. He was limping around. Maybe we would have gone for it. Mahomes wasn't limping around. I mean, that was a pretty bad limp. He was laboring a good amount on that.
My boy called me. We was on the phone with each other when he called me. He's a Cincinnati Bengals fan, man. We played ball together, EKU, running back, man. He was just like, man, what are you going to do with your guy? He's over here and said, look, man, as long as that joker got his arm, I ain't worried about his legs. I'm all right with that. He can make every throw you want to. He said, are you gonna wheel him out like they did Eddie Murphy in Trading Places? I don't know if y'all feel old for that. But we have to. If they had to pick him up like they did Brian Leftwich down the field, that's what they will do. As long as PM15 still got that cannon on him, he's all good, baby. He's all good. So
hey, we saw the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. Caleb Williams on Friday night played that whole second half with one leg. I mean, if he could do it, Pat could definitely do it.
Absolutely, no doubt. Dunkins, man, I don't know who's this said, man. Hey, it's good seeing you and your little comments out here, and everybody else too. The Bengal fans, hey, look, great game. Hope we'll see you later. Okay, let me put it that way. Yeah. All right, y'all got us for right now. I hope we get to see you again.
In Kansas City, hopefully.
In Kansas City. I don't care where it is, to be honest with you. Well, I know these guys are really hungry now. I know these suckers ate. Boy, I just know how that locker room is feeling.
Yeah.
I know how they're feeling right now.
Yeah. And you have to think that now that the way that the AFC is shaping up is as respectable as the Bills are and some of these other teams, the Dolphins, even though they took an L to San Francisco 49ers today, you have to think that the focus now is, okay, if the Chiefs and Bengals play again, that is going to be the pinnacle game right there. Whether they face in the divisional round, AFC Championship, that to me is the ultimate matchup here. Because I know everybody wanted to push to the forefront Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, the Bills, Chiefs. I said before the season, I don't want to take too much credit here, but I said before the season that the Bengals are the team, Joe Burrow is the quarterback, that I look, if there was going to be a rivalry, it was going to be those guys because of the fact they're the ones that continually beat the Chiefs or find a way to have a W at the end of the game. We know that Patrick Mahomes, if the Chiefs and Bills play again in the playoffs, I'm picking the Chiefs, and I feel very confident about that because the Chiefs are 2-0 against them in the playoffs. But we saw that the Bengals came in here to Kansas City, took care of business last year. That's something I am a little more hesitant with, and hopefully by that time, if it does happen, I feel the way JD does because my guy's calling the W now, and I love the fact that my guy JD is feeling that confident because I want to get there myself.
Yeah, man, it's all perspective, man. And P. Crowley, man, 513. I see you out there, Cincinnati. I know that area code real well. So it's just right up the street. So here's the thing. I live in Bengal country. I'm right down the street. I'm an hour away from Cincinnati. So I'm going to get it from everywhere. That's all right. Bring it on. Keep coming. Bring it to me. I'm already with it. I'm fine with it, man. It's all love. It's all love. But yeah, man, no doubt about it. If it happens to be that way and it works out, I think how it comes playoff time, I think these guys are going to be ready. You know, we're one of those guys that we've been battle tested over this time. Guys can get past things. It's going to be all right. We're going to be good. 4 AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowls, 1 win, and Super Bowl MVP with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Those guys, hey, I ride with them guys all day, period.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning into our Chief Concerns post-game show. Unfortunately, it was a loss. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but it's always great to debrief and make everyone feel a little better, or with the Bengals fans in our chat, make you feel better about your win and make us feel better about our loss. But so this week, JD and I will preview the Broncos game. Hopefully, that's a nice bounce back spot for us. It's my 29th birthday next weekend, so hopefully we can get
Mazel tov.
Yep.
Hey.
Hopefully we get the win for my birthday. And we'll have a whole thing this week to preview that game. Hopefully we get to see Brandon Williams in his first action this coming week. Lance, your show next Saturday. What do you got for us coming up this weekend?
A lot of good things, a lot of honest things. First and foremost, I appreciate you guys having me on here each and every week. It's an absolute blast. You guys are my 2 best pals when it comes to being able to create Chiefs content. I love you guys to death on a personal level. You guys are awesome friends of mine, and I definitely, you guys make me feel better being able to talk about this stuff immediately after the game. I know some people want to just like disconnect and just get away from everybody. I don't like to do that. I like to talk these things out immediately, and I'm glad we get this opportunity. And that's what we're going to do on Saturday as well. Me, Trev, and Eddie, we're going to definitely hash this stuff out, get over this Bengals L, and talk about what the Chiefs are going to do to the Broncos. I actually feel really bad for the Broncos because once you think that they're going to be able to put together a good offensive performance to go out there and put 9 points out there again, Russell Wilson has 8 touchdowns in 10 games. I feel really good about the Chiefs' opportunity in this one. We're definitely going to break that one down. And I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to go out there and do what they need to do in Denver. And I feel great about it. And again, thank you guys so much for letting me come on here and vent as I do each and every week. And I'd love to have you guys back on our show. I know we talk about it a lot, but you guys let me know when you have availabilities and we'll make it work. Trust me, we'll make the time for you guys. But you can follow us at The Spoken Pod on Twitter, Facebook, as well on YouTube. That's where we do all of our live streaming. And you can follow me at Twitter at Lance the Spoken. You see that right below my face right there. This bushy face of mine. You can see that handle right there. Hit me up on there as well. We'd love to talk with you guys. It's all sports all the time at the Spoken Podcast.
Yep.
Well, appreciate you, my brother, like always, man. I love you to death. Tell the fellas I said what's up, man. Like I said, hopefully get up there soon to get on the podcast, man. Come talk and chop it up with you all. Like I said, it's always good to kind of talk it out. And, I love it, man. Hey, let's put this thing behind us. Let's move forward, right? Like I said, hope we meet these guys down the field, man. But, hey, look, I enjoyed every bit of it. Marcus, I love you to death, brother.
Of course,
it's going to be a great birthday week. Great birthday week, man. All right? So,
yes, sir.
Good to see you. Lance, love you, man. Appreciate everything you do for us, man.
Love you more, bro. Love you, man. I appreciate you guys. Seriously. Thank you.
Love you guys. And again, you can get Lance. You can hear Lance and the boys every Saturday on the Spoken Podcast and anywhere you can get your podcast. And Chief Concerns, new episode coming on Thursday. And then, of course, our post-game show right after the game right here on YouTube. I think we only have Sundays left for the rest of the season. Yeah, after our games on Sundays for the rest of the season. So, So we'll see you guys next week. And I hope everyone has a good week. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.